All right. We left off here with section 145. I want to look at one thing I talked about just a little bit, this ending, tau eta sigma TACE. And I want to go back into the other file that I have. So we'll come out of this file here and come out of it. And I'll stop sharing on it.
What file are you going to?
And I'll go back to the other one. That'll be the Greek lexicon and grammar notes file that I've generated. All right.
Okay.
I think you should be able to see it now, can you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is in that file and it's on page, well, let's see, 372 on that, in that file. What this is your suffixes. Of course, the suffix is at the end of the word. And here's two that I want you to kind of look at here. We have the TACE ending up here, right here. And that's the agent, all right? And we have TACE by the agent, and that's Latin for the agent, name of the agent. Also TER, tau eta rho. Both of these depict the agent, right? And so that's kind of important for us. And we had the word kleptase. Take a look at the couple of them. I should have just. Kleptase, I'll go through it right quick. And this could be helpful to you. Autocoppus. Pretty close to it. There it is. The TACE ending is a thief, see, an embezzler, pilferer. Kleptase, thieves, one who takes property by stealth. Well, this is not the word that's used for the thief on the cross as it's translated. And it's more of a robber, an insurrectionist, one of the two. I want to see if I can find some other words here. That will have this. We'll put that as our ending and see if we can find some more words. There's kleptase. All right. There's one ending. I don't have that word in. Don't have that word in my lexicon here. Sorry. Here it is. There's a TACE ending. Dominion, lordship, one who possesses dominion, see? And so the TACE ending, one who exercises the agent that does it, possesses it. All right. This is one who shines. And again, we don't, probably it's not found but once or twice in the New Testament. Kleptase is thief. Okay. Get this TACE ending. And this is a pearl. It's the TACE ending. So it's an agent or something. Interestingly enough, pearl is used, of course, it's created by an animal, by a clam. That's a very interesting aspect of it, and it's used several times. It's very prized, of course. And so we TACE. And this is one who is devoid of face. See the TACE ending there. And that makes for a very interesting study. And this is someone who is, mega is great. And so it's megas is great. And it's related to it, it's derived from it. See the mega prefix all the way down. All right, and of course, alpha becomes an epsilon. All right. I'm just trying to show you, right here is the sponsor. This is a sponsor or surety. And again, this is one who does it, see? And one who intervenes between two tastes. So this is a person doing that. And I guess I'll just quit. But we just got a bunch of those words. We're going to come back out of it now. Just want to let you see that. Go back to our want that on the grammar. All right. Here we are. We're back to the original one. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Kleptase. So that's your tase ending. It could have also been a ta, eta, rho ending, and we could look at those as well. And what I did is I just cut and pasted this ending out of that file, and then I searched through, and you can find a bunch of words there. Okay, which were very helpful. And the tear ending also, you could find those bunch of words. Okay. Now, do you have any questions about anything we covered last week?
Yeah, where'd all these words come from?
Right here. Okay. Some of these words here that we run into are irregular. He's listed several irregular words. And so he wants us to kind of be aware of that. They're irregular. They have a little bit different form, bino and basomai, and balo, palo, and balo, and ginomai and ganesomai. Again, the spelling of it changes. And so we have a change in the words, ditto, me, and doso. And that's your future tense there. And so they do. There are some that have a little bit different form, like go, went, gone in English. Go and went and obviously don't even sound alike. And so we have an irregularity there. And probably it came from different dialects of Greek. And one of the terms was picked up from one dialect and the other one from another dialect, most likely. In English, it's a combination of three languages with a whole bunch of other stuff thrown in from the old Celtic, the German, which is Anglo-Saxon, and then of course, the Normans, which were basically French. And they got a lot of their stuff from the invaders, the Vikings who invaded. And then we throw in the Latin and Greek that was thrown in, and the influence of other languages as well, Spanish and so forth. Any questions there? So that kind of flavors the language. And Greek had this similar problem with all the city-states and their different dialects that they had. And so it's kind of a little bit there was thrown in. But we have a lot of consistency in Greek, but there are some irregular words. And here's some of your main ones. But we have another lesson later that has most of your irregular words in it. And it lays them all out for you. It's later on in the course, so in the book. If you want me to, I'll look it up and give it to you next week, okay, or whatever if you want to. But we don't need it right now. We'll get to it when we get there. This right here is alo, and again the trios ending that's a suffix, and that is a particular suffix. We could go in and search it out and see its meaning, but this is another. And as I said earlier, alos, and just let me get these letters out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's alos, and that is a word, and it means another of the same nature. Okay, that's where it comes from. Okay. And this is a stranger, but it's a stranger in this sense of the same nature. Whereas we have another word, and I'll write it here. And I'll put that into symbol font. That'll convert it to our proper form. They put a rough breathing on this, heteros, rough breathing on the epsilon. I don't see one I can pick up and drop on it right there, but it has a rough breathing, heteros. And hetero is a prefix in English, meaning two things of a different nature. And if you get into biology, you'll see that term quite a lot in biology. And allos is also, allo is a prefix in biology too, both those words. And this would be of the same nature, and heteros would be of a different nature. Does that make sense? You'll run into that in English. You'd be surprised if you happen to have and you can access it on the internet with that free Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. It's a good dictionary to have because it tells you how to use a dictionary. So I'm sure most of you are educated well enough that you know how to use a dictionary, but that's pretty good for young students to use. I recommend it for young preachers to use it, learn how to use a dictionary. That's very helpful. But if you look at allo and hetero, you'll find those in a lot of English words, and particularly biological terms. And any questions there? All right. So this is another of the same nature. And this is the stranger, right? On a bino, we looked at that. Ana is up, and bino is I go. So this is I go up, and we've already done all this, so I'm not going to go any further. You have questions before we go down here into it? A very interesting thing, here's the word for door. And if you go to the Greek word for shield, it's almost the same word. They're from the same root. So the shield kind of looked like a door, okay? That's the way it looked, right? All right. Now then, we're about ready here for text A. And so let's see, Benjamin, did you do the first one down to the cursor, where the cursor is?
Okay.
For us and translate it for us.
Ha Jesus estin he thura ton probaton. Jesus is the door of the sheep.
Is the door of the sheep. Have you ever studied what that was? What it was, what that meant? What a sheepfold was like? I have a slide, and if I can find it, I'll show it to you maybe next week if I can find it, of a sheepfold. They've actually have some, and that they have pictures of them. What they did, it was like they built a wall around and built it up high so wolves couldn't get in it. And then there was just one entrance into that sheepfold. And it's just like a wall, a rock wall, up high enough to keep the wolves out and predators. And then there was just one entrance into it. And so the door of the sheepfold was the shepherd. He would lie down in that door and sleep. The sheep wouldn't go over him. Isn't that interesting? And of course, the predator had to do what to get into the sheep? Had to go over him also. So he would sit there and go to sleep and sit in the door, or go to sleep in the door, right? So he was the door of the sheep. They had to go through him, and they were protected in that sheepfold. All right. I'm sorry I got off on that, but any questions? I'm sure both of you already knew that. All right.
I didn't know that they used the actual person as the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the door. That's why Jesus is the door. He's the one that protects that sheepfold, takes care of it, protects it, and guards it. And so we see a shepherd willing to die for it to keep the predators out. And so I think even there, he would die for the sheep. All right. Any questions?
Mhm.
All right. Next one, if you would. Okay, if you would, Bobby. Like,
Hokleptes hu anabexita, dia tes thurais. The thief will not go up for himself through the door.
okay, the thief, he will not go up through the door. Okay, so what will the thief do? He will do what? Okay, he'll try to climb over the wall, won't he? Because the shepherd's at the door. He can't get through that door. That's why he can't. He has to go around. He has to climb over. All right. All right. Okay, the next one, next sentence down to the cursor, if you would, there, Benjamin.
Ta probata accusatai tes phones Jesu. The sheep will hear the voice of Jesus.
Why is this accusatai? Is that plural or singular?
Singular.
Singular. Let's go back up and look. Accusatai. Oh,
Yeah, I actually marked that. I saw that as I was going through, and I said question mark third person singular for plural sheep question.
yeah. I wonder why that is.
Probably wrong.
Mistake.
It's probably a collective noun.
No, well, close. That's real close. Let me point out here. What gender is ta probata? What gender is that? Masculine, feminine, or neuter?
Masculine.
I couldn't clear my throat there.
I put down masculine.
That clear my throat. It's neuter.
Must be neuter then.
Yes. Okay. Here's one of the rules. Most of the time, a very large portion of the time, a neuter plural subject takes a singular verb because a neuter plural's bunch of things are treated almost like a unit. And then you're close to it with the idea of collective. It's almost the same thing as a collective noun. Make sense?
Right.
That's one of our rules. Now, when we finish this, I'll go over and find that rule in that file that we're looking at. We'll do that. Help me remember to do that at the end of the class, okay? Well,
So that's only for neuter?
What now?
That's only for neuter?
Yeah, neuter plural subjects very often, a large portion of the time, will take a singular verb.
Huh.
And this will be in our book too, right here. What I can do, let's see what page number we're on, and I'll come back to it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search for neuter plural, okay? Neuter plural subjects. Neuter plural subjects 24. There. All right there it is on section 67, which we covered some time ago. Neuter plural subjects in Greek, neuter plural subject usually has a singular, not a plural verb. Okay. Now I forgot which page we're on. Okay, but I'll find it. Okay. Any questions?
I've got another question about the sentence.
All right. Now, what page is it on? Help me out there.
62.
62.
I think.
Section 145.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Number
You getting
19. So that's 19, and I was
145.
There you go.
There you go. Right down there.
all right. So it ended right there. That's where it ended.
Yes. Quick question. So it says tes phones. Shouldn't that be in the accusative though?
No, it hears of Jesus, the of Jesus voice. Genitive, the of Jesus voice.
But isn't the voice the direct object of the hearing?
No, it's taking a genitive object. Some verbs take a genitive object. All right. And so you hear the of Jesus voice is how we would literally translate it.
Huh.
All right. Now, let me tell you, among the sheep, I was reading about this, and I think it was J.W. McGarvey wrote about this. I can't remember where I read it, but it's one of those old writers that went over into Palestine around 1900 or 1889 or 1880s. And he went over there and to travel through there. And he came to a watering hole where they watered the animals. And there's three different shepherds brought their flocks in. And the flocks got all mingled. And they were drinking and being around one another and everything. And so he said, ask them, he said, well, how are you going to separate your sheep? They said, it's no problem. And so the shepherds started talking, and the sheep separated themselves and went after each individual shepherd. They were so used to their shepherd's voice that they only responded to his voice. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
And I was told there was a boss shepherd in western Oklahoma that would take his sheep out, and what he would do is he would rent the land from the ranchers and farmers and take his sheep out there and let them graze a while, and then he'd move them to another place and get them. It was Basque that's the Basque region of Spain, and he would talk, and the sheep would all come to him, speak to him. And people were just amazed. And one of the elders in the church there says, well, yeah, that's from the Bible. He said that you believe, he said, you can see it's true. Okay. He was telling me about it. Okay. All right. He was a farmer out there. He's an older farmer. But anyhow, I just thought I'd throw that in. I'm sorry, that's not Greek, but we'll get it in now. And resist the opportunity. Okay. And if I can find that, I'm pretty sure it was J.W. McGarvey that wrote that. And then maybe in one of his commentaries, particularly the one about the sheep hearing the voice, you can find that scripture and look at his commentary. I'm suspecting it's either in his commentary of Mark or his fourfold gospel, one of those two, I'm suspecting. Right? I'll have to look it up. And if I think about it, if you'll remind me, I'll look it up when we get through. Now we're going to do something. I forgot what I was going to do at the end of this. Now, what was I going to do? Okay. I'm sorry. All right. I'll think of it later. Okay. After class is over. All right. Shall we do the next one?
Uk acoustai tes phones tu lotriu. Lotriu. He will not hear the voice of the stranger.
Okay. And that's probably singular, isn't it? But we might translate it as they will not because it's plural sheep. If this is a follow-up to that prior sentence, does that make sense? So the translators may translate it as plural for that reason. So not hear the voice of another, see?
So it will not hear.
Yeah, see? Now, literally, it will not. But it's probably going to be translated they because of the context. But if it goes with that just sentence just before it, it's a plural bunch of sheep. They will not hear the voice of another. See, this is not heteros. This is allo trio. And what it is, another of the same. They won't hear another shepherd's voice. They won't listen to another shepherd. They'll only go to that one shepherd. They'll know his voice and they'll come to him. That pretty good?
Mm.
All right. Thought I'd throw that in. You got that free. It didn't cost you anything. All right. Okay. Okay, Benjamin. We did get you a long one, didn't we? Oh, incidentally, there was a period down here. I have another printed copy of that, and there was a period. Okay, so I think we go down to here. Okay, on this. All right. So
Ακολουθέσαι αυτό. Αλότριο δε ου με ακολουθέσουσι, αλλά φιούξονται απ' αυτού. I said they will follow him, but another they will not hear, but they will flee from him.
Yep. And if another one tries to get them to follow him, they won't. They'll get away. They'll run away from him. That shepherd, he's been taken care of. He's like almost like their guardian, and they know he takes care of them. He's good to them. So they're going to follow him, and so they won't be following. They'll follow after him. They'll be led by him. See, follow him. But another shepherd, another of the same nature. See, another shepherd. Ume. Now, what's ume? Those are not. Not is positive. Not. In English, if you not is positive, you get back. They cancel each other. Do they cancel here?
No, they will never or not even or something like that.
Very emphatic. Ume is very emphatic. It's a real strong not. Right?
In no wise.
In no way.
Yeah.
No way. There's no way they'll follow after him. Now, we have Allah instead of but. If we can, we'll get into it a little bit later. But Allah. They is also but. I don't see they in here anymore. I'm just scanning for it. Delta epsilon. I don't see it here. Yes,
Right.
but is it
It's
here?
right there. Yes, sir. It's the third word in that sentence there. The third word in the third line down. Day ume. There you go.
Now, this is also but Allah is different. It contrasts two entities, persons, concepts. It may be contrast good and evil, for example, but it contrasts and puts them in different sets or different categories. So they're not in the same category, say. And so that's the difference between it and they, which can take things in this category. Right? For instance, if he's contrasting good and evil, he would use Allah. It's not good, but it is evil. Say, that would be Allah. Right? So they're going to flee what is in a different category. See, that shepherd is. That other, he's another of the same nature. He's the same nature, but he is not going to be followed because he's a different shepherd, see, different category. And they flee away from him. They shall flee from him. Now, is this singular again? Who's on time?
Let's see.
It's plural.
Okay.
Plural. Yeah. Third person plural.
They shall flee from him. Okay. They're fleeing from that other one, and then it's another shepherd. Okay.
Why would they do plural on that one instead of being consistent with the third person singular?
I don't know. I just assume it's a form of emphasis. Notice it's plural here too.
Right.
Okay. And maybe under this condition, I would interpret it this way. Because he's used the singular earlier, but now he uses the plural. Collectively, they follow that shepherd. They follow their shepherd. But individually, they flee away. So as individuals, they don't act as a group there. They act as individuals and flee. That's probably what that's there. If this is right from the text of the Bible, that's the lesson I would get from it. Each of those sheep becomes an individual, and he flees from that shepherd. And I view the sheep scattering in all different directions to get away from that shepherd. If he's in the midst of them, they'll go away from him, out and away, and they'll go in different directions. That's how I view it. Does that help?
Yeah.
All right, now.
That's let me ask a question. I wrote the word of kulu. They say it's third singular.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And then it changes to plural over here. But
Right.
Susie is plural.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
Yeah, I know.
well.
Yeah, since you told me about the neuter thing, I went ahead and I wrote it down as he follows, but then I changed it on the fly because you because of what you told us.
So I think here, if this is from the text of the Bible now,
Yeah.
Brother Roberts knew Greek real well. And so he probably intended for you to draw the conclusion here that they were a group when they followed. They followed, all of them collectively went after the shepherd.
Right.
But whenever that other shepherd tried to get them to go, he might have been in the midst of them, and they just took off in all different directions, 360 different directions. If you there's 360 sheep, it went every degree and went all different directions to flee away from it. But they're afraid of it, and we should fear Satan. I mean, we don't need to be arrogant about it. Old Satan is dangerous. Okay. All right. Any further questions? I think we're back to who we're back to. I think we're back to
Me.
Okay.
It's my time.
Okay.
Okay. Ho Jesus sose ta probata ka eselucita ka eklicita ka nome urese. And I put down, Jesus will be saving the sheep, entering and going out. He will find pasture.
and so he's going to find the pasture for them, and he's going to find the pasture.
And Jesus will.
Something for them to graze, find a pasture. Okay. Any questions?
Did you say Jesus will be saving the sheep?
Jesus,
I should be saved.
and it's just future shall save.
Yeah.
Jesus shall save the sheep. And is this he shall go in and out, or they shall go in and out?
I put he.
He will.
But it's, what is it, singular again?
Etai.
It's getting confusing now.
I got all three of them verbs as singular. Jesus shall save the sheep. Yep, the sheep is plural.
The sheep is,
Sheep, yes, is plural.
the sheep is accusative case.
Yeah.
So a finite verb has to take its subject in the nominative case. I wanted you to see that. And it's real easy. You can fall into that trap of, okay, well, that's referring to the sheep. Jesus, the subject, nominative case, shall save. And what does he save? The sheep. And that's accusative case. They get saved. And, okay, he shall go out and he shall what? Shall go into and shall go out of, and pasture he shall find. So he's going to go in and go out. Okay. So what does this shepherd do? He goes in and out and finds pasture for the sheep. Now, the good shepherd, he will already know where the pastures are, won't he? Because he knows the lay of the land.
Right.
That's what it's all about. So he leads them and takes them to the pasture. and that pasture will have him a sheepfold where he can guard them at night. Okay.
What is it referring to, go in and out? Is that referring to the place inside of the door and outside of the door?
No, I think it's just he's going here and going there, going into the land, going to the place where the pasture is, coming out, and the traveling from place to place. I think it's more of a traveling. And that's what I think. Okay. Now, this is an irregular verb, but it's ex erchomai and ek erchomai, or ex erchomai. We'll look at those words if you will remind me, and we'll look at them after we get through here. Right? So he's going to define pasture now. Heurisco, this is from heurisco, is to find something that you're looking for. It's not something found by accident. So this indicates he's been looking for a pasture for them. Perhaps he's a shepherd that knows the land real well. And so he's going to take those sheep where he knows there's good pasture for them. And probably he may have already built him a sheepfold nearby so he can guard them at night from the predators. Does that make sense? All right. Now let's go further. I think we're back to Benjamin.
Yes, sir. Ha kalas poimen these ten sukain autu huper ton probaton. The good shepherd will lay down his life for the sheep.
Okay. In behalf of the sheep or for the sheep. All right. The good shepherd. Now there's two words for good. Do you remember what they were? Kalos. Agathos. Okay. Agathos and kalos. Do you remember the difference? Agathos is good because it's morally good. So this probably would not be a good word to use for this shepherd here, because in context, it's not necessarily, we're not implying he's not morally good, but the stress is that this word good here, he has all of the characteristics he needs to do the job right. So he's good in the sense everything's there in the right proportions. Does that make sense? This shepherd has all of the tools and the qualifications to be a shepherd. He knows what to do, and he knows how to take care of them, knows how to protect them, knows how to find that pasture for them. And the protection, he's going to be a door for them at the sheepfold. Right? He's going to lay down what? He'll die for the sheep. He'll guard them at that sheepfold. And if a wolf tries to attack them out in the pasture, he's going to go after that wolf. And of course, they had slingshots. Did you know the Roman army had groups of men who had slings, and they used them?
Yep.
They found their stones that they would rub the stones until they were almost round, and they carved the name of their general and engraved it in the side of those stones, and they found just massive numbers of them with the general's names on them. The men would put their general's name on the stones. They would actually engrave it or scratch it in the stone. Right?
So, yeah, so you said kalos is more in terms of good as far as utility, I guess?
Yes, it's good because it has all of its parts in the right proportion. It's the word in feminine form for a beautiful woman. What makes a person good looking? Well, it's usually, they've discovered it with babies. You give a person to hold a baby, if the face of that person, even if they're overweight, it doesn't matter, underweight. If their face is symmetrical, the baby will look at the face for quite a while. If the face is twisted, like the nose is crooked and so forth, they'll look for a moment and then turn their head away. They've examined, they've seen thousands of babies, they've done this. And so they think that we view beauty with symmetry. Symmetry is what makes people good looking to us. And of course, God's not looking at the physical body, he's looking at what?
Spiritual body.
And the sheep are looking for not necessarily the good looks of that shepherd. They're looking for a shepherd that what? Is going to take care of them, be kind to them, be gentle with them, pick them up when they're injured, and take care of them. They get sick, and protect them. All of the things that a good shepherd would do. And so he has all those characteristics in the right proportion, and he uses that, and that's what makes him appeal to. That's what the sheep see in him. They see that in him. So Jesus, of course, is perfect in that he's got all the things he needs in the right proportions for us. He's our good shepherd. All right, does that help a bit?
Yes.
All right. Who was the last one?
Benjamin. Oh, it's my time. I get this. Now you do notice it's just two words there.
Just two words right there.
Alton.
Well, we come down.
They shall know.
Yeah, we did come down here. We sure do.
Well, that first part. First part is they shall know him. It's altos eke ala probata, but he shall have these sheep. Is what I put it.
Actually, that goes with the prior. Okay. It goes.
Well, it got a period right up there, right?
No, it's a semicolon.
Okay. What is this
Is
word?
that a period?
After Alton is semicolon or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. They know what?
They shall know him,
And then he what?
and but he shall have the sheep. That's what I put. I might have messed up, but let me see here. Let's see. Yeah, I got
Comes from Ago, I think. To lead.
let's see here. What did I mess up?
Instead of have, I think it's to lead.
Noskota alton altas eke ala probata. I say pro. Oh, okay. So you're saying what now? Tell me again.
Exe, I think, comes from Ago. To
Yeah,
lead.
echo. I got echo.
Yeah, exe.
Yeah. He shall have.
He leads sheep, doesn't he?
Is that from Echo or Ago?
Well, now you got me confused.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
I got it from echo.
I apologize.
Oh, I lost everything. There you go.
Okay, it's from Trefo, right? It's from Trefo. Right? And
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense though. Just have the sheep.
Trefo to turn aside, to turn away, to swerve, to turn from, avoid.
I missed that one. What did you say now?
To turn aside, turn out, turn aside. To away or to swerve.
Yeah.
Wait, so I'm confused. What is it? Is it from Axe?
Well, it's a deck Trefo. Let me get it over here.
Let me see. How did I mess that up so bad?
Because Echo is in the chart of futures on 143, and it has Echo.
Yeah.
So
It's third person singular future indicative.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Echo.
That's what I got. But I see what you're saying now because I put the wrong. I spelled it wrong. When I spelled it wrong, I translated it wrong. Echo. Okay.
Now, this is
That's what it says.
Okay.
All
Okay. And he has other sheep. All right. They know him. He has other sheep.
Well, that's where I got my I shall have.
Okay. She shall have other sheep.
Shall have.
They know him. He shall have other sheep. Okay.
They shall know him, but he shall have other sheep.
Semicolon, he shall have other sheep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the next sentence says the ago. That's maybe what I was thinking of. Oxe, the second word.
Yeah. That's from Ago.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Sorry.
Okay, let's go to the next one now. We did give you that long one, but it was broken up because there is a period after the word flock. I have another printing of the book, and I found it, and it does have a period there. Okay.
Okay. Altos, axe, altus, kai ekena tes phones, autu, accususi, kai genesontai, mia poime. So I said, wait a second. Even he leads them, and those who will hear his voice, even they shall become one flock.
Shall become one flock. Yes. Okay, that's good. Okay. All right. Okay. Can you do the last one there for us?
Yeah.
And then we'll be
Trying to get down. Okay.
for the night.
Dia tuto hotheos agapese alcon hote they say tain sukang alku kai palin let lamsita. Because of this, God will love him. He will lay down, receive it again. Because he'll lay down his life, or because of this, God will love him. Because he will lay down his life and he will receive him. That's the way I put it.
Okay.
Could be a smoother.
Now, let me point out something here. What I've found has been very surprising to me. A lot of the times where Jesus was raised,
Right.
it's in the middle voice. He raised himself. Not always. Sometimes he was raised by the Father, and then sometimes he raised himself. So he may, instead of receiving again, may take it up again. That could
Take
be.
it up. Yeah, okay. Well, that's middle right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He will take it up. Take it up. Take it.
Jesus,
In what sense then, how does that work?
lambano is to take or receive. And I think in the passive voice is to receive. That's my interpretation. Now you'll have to work this out for yourself, but I think it's receive in the passive, and it's take when it's in the middle or the active voices. I think Jesus took his life back up again. I think there's a bunch of passages that show that, because several of them are in the middle voice. and only deity could do that. Nobody else could bring life back. Only God can do that. So if he did it himself, what does that say about him?
He's God.
He's God in the flesh. He was God. He's deity. I think there's just a bunch of passages like that that show clearly that Jesus is God. He's fully deity. And I was observing it and I looked through it and I saw one that was middle voice. And I said, wait a second. I think it's in 1 Corinthians 15. I found one that was. Got to looking and I found several others that were. And Jesus was, when he was resurrected, raised. He wasn't passive raised. It wasn't passive voice. And it was middle voice. Now, there's some of them that are in the aorist tense, which we'll study next lesson. And it has a separate form, like the future does, for the middle and the passive voices. Okay? So the future has a separate form, right, for the middle and passive voices. So with this is middle, okay? He's going to take it up again, right? And I think lambano in the active and middle voices to take, it's a self-prompted taking. That's what Thayer tells us when you look it up in Thayer. So it's a self-prompted taking. I have the power to lay down my life and to take it up again. So Jesus showed he's God in the flesh when he's saying that.
You say that's on he has it on Labano?
Yep.
Okay.
So how did that transaction, I'm trying to see how that works in my head then. So
I think all three of the persons of Godhead were involved in his resurrection. He's involved in it too. With the collective action.
Because it's used in you're saying it's used in the passive form, I guess, when the Father is mentioned as doing the raising?
No, sometimes it's the Father doing the raising because the Father is the subject of the sentence. It's a finite verb. But sometimes it's Jesus and it's in the middle voice. He raised himself. Right? And Jesus would be in the nominative case. So we know the finite verb takes its subject, always takes its subject in the nominative case. So we tell who the subject is. If the Father is in the nominative case and then there's a finite verb, it's the Father doing it. Does that make sense? That's how we.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it in light of, verses like, you will not abandon my soul to Hades or let your Holy One see corruption.
Okay. I'm going to preach on that in our lectureship. It'll be on YouTube. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I've been assigned that very subject. Or actually, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That's what I'm going to preach on. All right. Okay.
Yeah. The reason I brought that verse up is it seems like when he's saying, for you will not abandon my soul to Hades, he's referring to the Father. Is that kind of your take on that?
Yeah, he was not abandoned.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
And
is it talking about Jesus' soul? Abandon my soul?
yes, that's in Acts 2. It's interpreted by Peter as being Jesus.
Yeah, I was just trying to fit that in with what you're saying on both of them being, responsible for the raising.
I think the whole Godhead was involved in the resurrection. But I think Jesus raised himself. I have the power to take it up again.
Yeah.
And he had the power to take it up.
Hmm.
He is God in the flesh, or he was, and he's still God, of course. Okay. We're gonna end now. We've gone an hour. So I'm gonna stop the recording.
Okay.